Protect the flock, we rally in the lion's den. Shield to shield, the storm is thundering. Unleash the roar, let the lions run towards the night until the battle's won.
All right, welcome back to the Lion's Den. I'm going to do some more 6-day count, some reading. All right, we're going to do 20 pages of reading. Eventually, we'll be done with this booklet, but 20 pages of reading. The wolf will not be here. He's in an executive council meeting, and so I have to get my laptop to Geek Squad by 5, and so I will not have time to wait on him to get out and talk to y'all, but I'll have him on next week. All right, and so again, Sunday won't have an episode. We'll be back Monday with a brand new laptop. Well, they're going to fix it, so it's really not brand new, but it will run like new. That's what they told me. And so we'll do that next Monday, and then next Wednesday we'll just keep on with the Lion's Den. All right. There's a new podcast out, Strategic Insights for Step B. Strategic Insights for Step B. And so that's another one we can put on our radar, all right? If you're wanting to listen to stuff, more education, the better. I think every region should have a podcast educating their region on what's going on. I think each department should have a podcast educating on what's going on. Like I said, when I become EVP, every Tuesday I'm going to have a Zoom meeting nationwide so you can ask me questions. I'll tell you what's going on. Still continue to do this podcast, Will from 8 Arbitration. And so I think every region should have one. But here's another, Strategic Insights for Step B. Strategic Insights for Step B. I listened to it, very good. And so y'all check that one out, Strategic Insights for Step B. I also had some things that normally I'm not going to do shout outs or things that are going on. I'll save all that from 8 Arbitration. But there's something that's going on and it'll be passed up by the time I get back. But you have Juneteenth coming up, and somebody sent me this, and it says it's on the bulletin board at their work. All employees are expected to maintain their assigned schedule and must make every effort to avoid unscheduled absences as per the ELM Section 511.4.3. In addition, employees must provide acceptable evidence for absences when required. And that's kind of skewed. But it also says this, deems desirable will be enforced and reviewed this Juneteenth holiday on a case-by-case basis in accordance with the ELM Section 513.3. And so they're telling you they're going to do deems desirable. Thing is that several people sent me that after this individual sent me this. So this is being put up everywhere because this was several different parts of the country that sent me this. If you go on the other podcast I do, from 8 Arbitration, episode 41, JB does a fantastic episode on deems desirable. Episode 41. Go listen to that. And it also has a hearing that JB and I were in. I was the advocate. He was the formal A in front of Arbitrator August. And so it also has that. But go to episode 41 if you see this on your bulletin board where they're talking about deems. All right. And so I'm going to say the rest of those shout-outs. People have sent me some shout-outs. Had one good one about the LMOU, how their branch did so well, giving them praise. But I'm going to save all that for from 8 Arbitration because I want this one to stick strictly to education. All right. But episode 41, I would have normally done that yesterday, but y'all could tell. I listened to it today, the episode, and you could really tell where it was, the hiccups in that thing, where it was, the laptop was screwing up. So, but we made it through it. But Monday, it'll be a brand new show, baby. It'll be a brand new show. I've got my laptop going to get fixed. I'm so excited. If y'all could have heard the numerous times that I have started an episode and get about 15, 20, 30 minutes into it and the laptop just quit, the amount of profanity that I would use right there. And it would happen over and over. So much so that I would just turn it off and go to bed. And I'd say, I'm just doing an episode tomorrow. So that's fixing to be alleviated. Okay. But This is Lion's Den, so you don't have to worry about profanity anyway, because we don't do that here on Lion's Den. We do that on the other one. All right, so let's get back into it. 6-day count. Should be a couple more weeks on this this booklet, and then we'll continue on with route protection stuff. Like I said, I think they're fixing to come out in the beginning of the year with a new route adjustment process. So we need to protect our routes anyway. They cannot use the data for June, July, and August, but we can educate ourselves June, July, and August for what we're going to do come September, all right, and how we're going to protect our routes. And so we're going to pick back up where we left off. PS Form 1840. The example we will use in this description is below. You may find it useful to pull this page out so you can refer to it while reading this section.
All right.
This form lists most of the data for a route from a traditional 6-day count. This form lists most of the data for a route from a traditional 6-day route count and inspection on one page. Management transfers data from the Forms 1838 to Form 1840. We're going to explain how to read Form 1840 and walk you through this form for Route 5564. The top right-hand side of the form shows the post office, delivery unit, and the regular letter carrier's name who is assigned to the route. On the form you're looking at, you can see that this Form 1840 is from Washington, D.C. Post Office, North Station, Delivery Unit, and the regular letter carrier assigned to the route is B. Smith. This portion of Form 1840 also shows the type of route, type of vehicle, age, length of service, and the letter carrier's length of service on the route. The upper left-hand corner of the form shows the route number and the dates from the week of inspection. On the form you're looking at, it shows the week of inspection was April 23, 2012 through April 28th of 2012. Directly below the dates from the week of inspection, there is a column that shows each day during the week of route count and inspection, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. This column contains a line for totals and a line for averages for the week of inspection. If the regular letter carrier doesn't serve the route on one or more days of route inspection, those days must be bracketed and are required to be excluded from consideration. On the form you're looking at, Carrier Smith did not work on Thursday and Saturday. That is why you see the numbers are bracketed for these days. On Thursday, the route was covered by the carrier technician T6 for the route. This is indicated by the letter T next to Thursday on the far left of the form. On Saturday, the route was covered by a replacement carrier. Other than the carrier, the technician is indicated by the letter R next to Saturday. You can always tell what day is the day of inspection, the day a manager counts your mail and goes with you during the week of inspection. This is true because the letter I will appear next to the day of inspection. In our example Form 1840, Wednesday was the day of inspection. You can see that there are several columns on Form 1840. They are labeled A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Columns A through D deal with office time from this week of route count and inspection. Column A is called net time used. This is the amount of actual office time used by the carrier each day during the week of inspection. On the report you're looking at, it shows that letter carrier B. Smith used 208 office time on Monday, 4/23/12 during the week of route inspection. Column B is called standard. This is the standard office time credit for each day during the week of inspection. On the Form 1840 you're looking at, the standard office time for Monday, 4/23/12 was 2:17. Standard office time is calculated using the 18 and 8 and 70 formula plus the time spent on the line items. The duties that a carrier performs while not casing mail for the day. The 18 and 8 and 70 formula works like this. You get credited 1 minute of casing time for every 18 letters, 1 minute of casing time for every 8 pieces of mail of other sizes, and 1 minute of pull down for every 70 pieces of mail. Line item time is then added to these results to calculate the standard office time for each day. Column C is called over standard. This column will be blank unless the carrier goes over standard, uses more office time than standard office time credit, on any day or days during the week of inspection. Column D is called under standard. This column shows how many minutes the carrier goes under standard, uses less office time than standard office time credit on any day or days during the week of inspection. So, I'm still in my uniform, right? I've just walked in. It was hot today. It was hot and muggy, and so I sweated a lot. I've just walked in and sat down. And so, as soon as I start reading this thing, my eyes start watering, and I start yawning. It's been 11 minutes. I bet I've yawned 15 times. I don't know what it is. But this is so incredibly boring. But for some reason, I always get a lot of people comment, "Hey, I appreciate you reading that because I don't have time to sit down and read it." Well, thank God. Holy smokes. I wish you could see how much my eyes are watering reading this. All right, here we go. Column E is called net street time used. Column E deals with the actual street time, in most cases, used each day during the week of route inspection. Keep in mind, there could have been more street time used than is recorded in this column. This happens when a route examiner records waiting street time during any day or days of inspection. If you want to see if there's any time deducted from the actual street time used, compare the street time on the Tax Employee Everything report with the street time recorded in column E for each day from the week of inspection. On the form you're looking at, the street time used by letter carrier Smith on Monday, 4/23/12, was recorded as 6:21. Note: be sure to review the Tax Employee Everything report to verify that the time the carrier spent on the street matches the net street time used, column E, on Form 1840 for each day. Column F is called net total time used. This is the total time used for the route on each day during the week of inspection. Net total time is computed by adding column A, net time used, office, and column E, net street time used. On the form you're looking at, it shows carrier Smith used 8:29 to complete Route 5564 on Monday, 4/23/12. Column G is called actual auxiliary time used. This shows any auxiliary time used on any days during the week of inspection. In most cases, there will be no auxiliary time used during the week of inspection. Column H is called day of inspection. It is found on the bottom right-hand corner of the form. You can see the number of possible deliveries for the route when it was inspected and the number of deliveries made on the day of inspection. On the form you're looking at, the number of possible deliveries is 694. The number of deliveries made on the day of inspection is 474. You can also see what percentage of possible deliveries was made on the day of inspection. On the form you're looking at, there were 68% of the possible deliveries made on the day of inspection. Column I is the miles driven each day of the week of inspection. The columns 1 through 7 on the right-hand side of Form 1840 are self-explanatory and record the mail volume for each day during the week of inspection. These columns are totaled and averaged for all days from the week of route count and inspection. Once again, just below the days of the week in the day column is a totals line. This totals all the time used on the route during the week of inspection, except for the bracketed days for columns A through E. Next, you have the averages line. This shows the average time used each day during the week of inspection, except for the bracketed days in those columns. On the form you're looking at, letter carrier B. Smith used an average of 1 hour and 45 minutes of office time and an average of 6 hours and 29 minutes of street time during the week of route count and inspection. Just below the averages line is a section called 1840B average street time. This is the average time recorded on Form 1840B 8-week time card analysis. On the form you're looking at, the average 1840B 8-week time card analysis street time is 5 hours and 45 minutes. Note, if you see a large difference in the average street time from the week of inspection and the 1840B average street time, you should investigate to find out why this is. One or both of these averages was probably not calculated correctly. On the bottom left-hand corner, you can see the same days of the week as on top. In this section, the time spent on lines 14 through 23 are recorded for each day during the week of route count and inspection. Management may not make any estimates of representative time for lines 14, 15, 19, or 21. Any proposed disallowances by management for line 14, 15, 19, or 21 must be supported by appropriate comments on Form 1840 or any attachments thereto. Comments such as excessive time, too much time, adequate or sufficient for this function, used on the day of inspection, too slow pace, and other similar comments by themselves are not appropriate comments for the purpose of supporting any such adjustment. To be considered appropriate, those comments must set forth the reasons for the conclusion that less than the average actual time recorded is sufficient for the carrier to perform that function. In no event may the times for these functions be below the base minimum M39 section 221.214b. In the bottom center of the form is a place for the route examiner's comments. It looks like this, and it's just a huge box that says route examiner's office and street. Finally, across the bottom of Form 1840 is a place for the route examiner's name, the delivery service manager's signature and title, and for the date adjustments are made. PS Form 1840 reverse. The example we will use in this description is below. You may find it useful to pull this page out so you can refer to it while reading this section. This form shows what adjustment, if any, is going to be made to a route. Route adjustments are made using one of two management systems: Delivery Operations Information System, or DOIS, or Carrier Optimal Routing, CORE. Regardless of which system is used, territory adjustments are always recorded on Form 1840 reverse. However, the Forms 1840 reverse generated by DOIS and CORE are different. A simple way to tell which kind of adjustment your office is getting is to look at the time values for territory transferred. On a DOIS Form 1840 reverse, the time value will be shown in whole minutes. On a CORE Form 1840 reverse, the time values will be shown in minutes and seconds. Also, there is additional information on a Form 1840 reverse generated by CORE. It is important to determine which program was used to adjust the routes. The next two pages illustrate the difference between DOIS Form 1840 reverse and a CORE Form 1840 reverse. PS Form 1840 reverse generated by DOIS. The time values inside the box are in hours and whole minutes. This is an easy way to determine that this route adjustment was made using the DOIS program. PS Form 1840 reverse generated by CORE. The time values inside the box are in minutes and seconds. This is an easy way to determine that this route adjustment was made using the CORE program. Therefore, all the language in M1661 must be complied with. CORE settlements M1661 and 1859. The national level settlements M1661 and M1859 reproduced on the next pages require management to meet specific obligations when using CORE, such as documenting, explaining, and validating time changes to, travel from, travel within, and relay time for each route. This is in addition to the normal obligation to document any changes to street time, including changes to allied, relay, or travel time. on Form 1840 reverse. Note, management is required to discuss all the matters described above at the proposed route adjustment consultation. M1661. Dear Mr. Young, recently our representatives met in pre-arbitration discussion of the above referenced grievance. After reviewing this matter, the parties agreed to the following. The carrier optimal routing or core process is a management tool to assist with the adjustment of letter carrier routes pursuant to Chapter 2 of Handbook M39. No components of the core program or application of the core process will be inconsistent with the route inspection, evaluation, or adjustment process found in Chapter 2 of the M39 Handbook. Should the Postal Service develop core for use in the minor route adjustment process, related components of the core program or application of the core process will be consistent with a specific minor route adjustment formula in Section 141.19 of Handbook M39. Local parties that have established by mutual agreement an alternate route adjustment method may also use applications of core consistent with their alternate route adjustment process. To facilitate the practical application of this understanding, when transferring territory, the back of the PS Form 1840 will indicate by sector segment any change in street credit from the actual street time used in sector segment on PS Form 3999, including all relay, travel, allied time, etc. Any such adjustment to the carrier's actual street time must be documented and explained by appropriate comments on the reverse of PS Form 1840. Additionally, any time adjustment to the base street time, which must be selected pursuant to M39 Section 242.321, will be documented and explained under the comments section on the reverse of PS Form 1840. Travel to, travel from, and travel within times must be validated, documented, and discussed during carrier consultation. The actual time should be taken from the inspection PS Form 3999 unless a new pattern is created during the route adjustment process. If a new travel pattern has been created, the new times must be validated. Notwithstanding any disputes regarding documentation of and or justification for time adjustments made, the intent of the previous paragraph is for the letter carrier to be made aware of any proposed time adjustment to the carrier's base street time and or to the street time of the territory being transferred. Time adjustments for territory being transferred will be by sector segment, including all relay, allied, parcels, accountables, etc. Any time adjustment to a carrier's base street time must comply with the M39 Section 242.345 through 242.347. Any grievance held pending a decision on this case will be resolved consistent with the principles of this agreement. And it says, please sign and return it. Now here's M1859. Dear Mr. Orlando, on several occasions, our representatives met in pre-arbitration discussion on the above captioned grievance. Time limits were extended by mutual consent. The issue in this case concerns time credit for relays on routes that are adjusted when using the Carrier Optimal Routing core program. Currently, the time value associated with retrieving relays for delivery on a route is recorded on PS Form 3999 and credited separately for each relay as relay time. In the core program, the actual total relay time recorded on PS Form 3999 for a route is divided by the actual number of relays on the route prior to the route adjustment to determine an average relay time. When the core program generates a proposed route adjustment, it assigns the average relay time for each relay on a route. After reviewing this matter, we mutually agreed to resolve the grievance as follows. If any existing relays remain unchanged during the proposed adjustment, the actual relay time from PS Form 3999 will be used. This will be accomplished with a miscellaneous street time adjustment on PS Form 1840 reverse through the use of the Allied Time Editing process in Core. Any other relays created by Core will be reviewed and discussed with the regular city letter carrier assigned to the route during the route adjustment consultation. If the carrier believes the relay times are appropriate, No changes will be necessary. The supervisor and regular city letter carrier assigned to the route who are present at the route adjustment consultation will initial PS Form 1840 reverse to reflect the agreement. Where agreement is reached that an adjustment is necessary to the relay time, the amount of time to be added or deducted to the relay time will be recorded in the comments section on PS Form 1840 reverse. The supervisor and regular city letter carrier assigned to the route who are present at the route adjustment consultation will initial PS Form 1840 reverse to reflect the agreement reached. A miscellaneous street time adjustment will be made in core to the route before the route adjustment is finalized and implemented to reflect the agreement. Where agreements cannot be reached, the carrier's comments will be recorded on PS Form 1840 reverse and considered before the route adjustment is finalized and implemented. The supervisor and regular city letter carrier assigned to the route who are present at the route adjustment consultation will initial PS Form 1840 reverse. Such consideration will be given consistent with the principle of adjusting routes to consist of as nearly 8 hours daily work as possible, pursuant to Section 242.122 of Handbook M39. This agreement does not change or alter the requirement to document on PS Form 1840 reverse and discuss with the carrier during the route evaluation consultation any time adjustment to a carrier's base street time in accordance with Section 242.345 of Handbook M39 and the National Pre-Arbitration Settlement on the core process. And it says, please sign. The first part of this section will explain the information found on every Form 1840 reverse. We will explain the information that is unique to a core-generated Form 1840 reverse at the end of this section. At the very top of the form, you can see the route number and how many pages the form will be. The example below shows this is the Form 1840 reverse for Route 2608, and there is one page to this route adjustment. On the upper left-hand corner of the form, in the item column, there is a line for office time, a line for street time, and a line for total time. These are the evaluated times for the route before the adjustment. Route 2608 was given an office time credit of 209 and a street time credit of 612 for a daily time credit of 821. Reading from left to right, the fourth column is called Relief, or Addition A. Each entry in this column will always be marked with an A or an R. The letter A means addition. Territory or time is being added to the route. The letter R means relief. Territory or time is being taken from the route. The next two columns show the street name and block range being added or removed from the route. The first entry shows the 6700 through 6798 block of Old Canton Road is being removed from Route 2608. If you look a few columns further to the right, you can see the transferred to or from route number column. This shows which route the territory is coming from or going to, depending on whether the territory is being added or taken away. The example above shows the 6700 block and 60 to 6798 block of Old Canton Road is being removed from Route 2608 and added to Route 2604. The next column is called Delis. This shows how many possible deliveries are in the line entry being added to or taken away from the route. On the form you're looking at, there are 4 possible deliveries on the 6700 to 6798 block of Old Canton Road that are being moved to Route 4. Continuing to the right, the next 2 columns are called Office Time and Street Time. These columns show the time value that is being added to or taken away from the route in the adjustment. The 6700 to 6798 block of Old Canton Road is being removed from Route 2608 for a time value of 0.01, 1 minute, office time, and 0.05, 5 minutes of street time. Each entry on every Form 1840 reverse will follow this same pattern. On the upper right-hand corner of Form 1840 reverse, you can see a section called Adjusted Route. On the form you're looking at, the office time after the route adjustment is 2:05. The new street time is 5:55, and the new total time for Route 2608 is 8 hours. The lower half of the form is called the comments section. Under the comments section, number 1 deals with the office break option. Number 2 shows the base street time selected for route evaluation purposes. Number 3 shows the street time that was selected for the route. For this route, 612 was the street time selected. The selected street time, 612, should match the street time entry in the upper left-hand corner of the form. In our example, these two numbers match, as they usually will. Note, just because the street time values match, it doesn't make them right. If they do not match, there is a problem. Either way, you should investigate the selected street time for each route. Number 4 is where management must record the reasons for the selection of street time. At the bottom of the page, in the lower left-hand corner, there is a section for additional comments. The comments section on Form 1840 Reverse should be studied very carefully when reviewing route inspection data. Sometimes, if you look towards the end of a Form 1840 Reverse, you will see that a manual time adjustment or miscellaneous time adjustment has been made to the route. This time adjustment is listed as relief or addition, depending on if the time is being added to or taken away from the route. This type of time adjustment deduction must be supported by appropriate comments on Form 1840 Reverse. Once again, any such time deduction should be investigated. At the very bottom of the last page of Form 1840 Reverse, you have a totals line that shows the cumulative totals of deliveries, office time, and/or street time being added to or taken from a route. The form you are looking at shows a cumulative time of 31 deliveries were removed for Route 2608 for a cumulative total of 4 minutes office time relief and 17 minutes of street time relief. Negative numbers mean it is relief. Positive numbers mean it is an addition. You should go back and add up all the office and street time credit and relief given and be sure these totals are correct. And so there's 20 pages. 20 pages of reading and yawning. But we're going to get through this book, man. It's a mission of mine now to get through this book. So it'll be a couple more weeks. And then, like I said, we'll get into some other route protection stuff, okay? So there you have 20 minutes or 20 pages reading, 33 minutes. And so that's not too bad, right? So I'll talk to y'all again Monday on From A to Arbitration, and then we'll be back next Wednesday for some more reading on the Lion's Den. All right, City Letter Carriers, y'all be safe out there. It is hot. It is hot. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Like I said, I went outside today to load up my vehicle, and I was like, good God, it's like a blanket. Just the humidity already that early in the morning. Be safe. Nothing is more important than your safety. Nothing. That mailed means nothing. Okay? Make sure you're staying hydrated. Make sure if you're starting to feel a little queasy, go to some air conditioning. Go to an office building. We can protect that all day long when it deals with our safety and our health. All right? Get out of the heat. Get into some air conditioning and get that core down. Okay? It is hot already, and we've already lost 2 brothers to this heat. And so take care of yourselves. Be safe, all right? I love you very much. I love you, City Letter Carriers. Good days are coming. Good days are coming, all right? Y'all have a good rest of the week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.